Welcome to another episode of the Sleeper Dynasty Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Lehman. Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to leave a rating and review on whatever platform you're listening from, and make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on future episodes. It really helps a lot, and it's a great way to support the show. We are available wherever you find podcasts. Also, please follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Sleeper Dynasty. Merch drops are coming soon. So my wife is almost done with the designs for the merch. And guys, it's going to be sick. So make sure you follow us on our social media platforms because we're going to do something special to release our first ever merch. Guys, let's talk about the Eclipse. It was really cool. I saw some really cool videos, but it was pretty... I don't really know why they made it such a big deal when it happened like in 2017, right? Like, wasn't that long ago. Apparently it's not going to happen for a while, but if you were in the path of totality, really, really fucking cool. Really fucking cool. If you were outside of that, it was way overhyped. Way overhyped. The community brought up the value of the Eclipse way higher than it should have been. First off, I just want to apologize. I've been really busy. The wifey had a birthday this weekend, so was a little preoccupied. Wasn't able to get an episode out on Monday, but we are almost a week away from the draft, and I am still going to be pushing out episodes. I'm trying to nail down the main guys before the draft, you know, like the elite guys that draft capital isn't really going to matter. And then after the draft, we'll get into some of the deeper guys. I'm not trying to come out here and make hot takes before the draft. I'm just getting my feet wet, just trying to see where these guys are, look at these elite guys. The draft is really going to tell us what we want to know about these guys. So once that comes around, we'll know more, and I'll be able to rank them way better than I would right now. All right, another thing. I received my first hate mail for the show. And I just want to say, did it hurt my feelings? Yes, it did. But it did also make me appreciate, first of all, if you don't like the show, just turn it off. Turn it off, go find another show. I get that I'm not the most entertaining guy. I started this podcast because I just wanted to put myself out there. Just wanted to put myself out there, talk about fantasy football, whatever. All right. If you don't like the show, move along. But I do want to say thank you to the people who have left great ratings and reviews and have really shown the love. I've received so many messages from people, personal, private DMs saying, hey, man, really love the pod. You know, and that kind of stuff really pushes me to keep going. And it's really encouraging. So get the negativity out of here, man. Get that out of here. We don't need that at the sleeper gang. We don't need that. So get out of here. So let's get into the news. Rashee Rice. We finally have an update on what's going on. We don't know the exact punishment, what the exact punishment is going to be from the NFL. He did get a warrant for his arrest, and he has turned himself in at this point. Based off of the charges that he received, it's being said that it's going to be anywhere from a 1 week suspension to a 4 week suspension. I would probably say closer to the 1 week. He's lucky that nobody died, right? He's lucky that he's not a Henry Ruggs 2.0. I think the fantasy community already is overreacting to the Rashee Rice news. Right now might be a good time to buy Rashee Rice based off the price. I mean, I was already high on Rashee Rice coming off of his rookie season. I was going to buy him this year. And I think now is a great time to go out and just send offers. And don't overpay for Rashee Rice, okay? There's still some risk there. Even without the fact that Patrick Mahomes is the one throwing him the ball, he's very interesting. We just take that out. He had a great rookie season. So he's still going to be the one there if they don't draft someone significantly better, which I don't think the Chiefs can do at 32. So with that being said, Rashee Rice owners, you lucked out and his value didn't go to zero, but just hold on to him. His value is going to go right back up. He's not going to get that much of a suspension. Devonta Smith signed a 3-year, $75 million extension with the Philadelphia Eagles, and he will get $51 million of that guaranteed in the bag. First of all, congratulations, Devonta Smith. He secured the bag, and really with not a lot of drama. I mean, I hadn't really heard any drama coming up into this point. I wasn't really following that situation with Devonta Smith closely, but it seems like the Eagles didn't want any drama, and they just wanted to say, hey, man, we're not going to string you along like the Vikings are Justin Jefferson. We're just going to keep you, and we're going to pay you what you're worth. This is great. This is great for Devonta Smith. He stays where he's at. This is great for Jalen Hurts. Maybe it's a bad thing for A.J. Brown's future with the Eagles, but A.J. Brown has shown that he can do it with Devonta Smith there. So really, it's not really bad for anybody. I think it just it's going to be the same thing for the Eagles moving forward. All right, so let's get into today's episode. Brockathy Bowers. Brockathy Bowers, the tight end out of Georgia. I feel like the hype has not been there for Brock Bowers. Going into the draft, as we get closer to the draft, I don't know if it's just because, I think it's just because of his positional value for fantasy. Why is nobody talking about Brock Bowers? Why is nobody getting seriously hyped up about the prospect that is Brock Bowers? Let's get into it. All right. First off, he just came out with a video where he's doing a backflip, whatever. Like, not a big deal. We've seen people jump out of pools. Like, doing a backflip isn't really a big deal, except for the fact that he's 6'3" and 240 pounds. So impressive. We knew he was athletic. So I don't think people are going to overreact to the video. It's just cool. It's just cool that he did a backflip, whatever. All right. So Brock Bowers is 6'3", 243 pounds. That's in the 20th percentile for tight ends. It's not great. Not great. He's pretty undersized. He has average size hands, arms, and wingspan. And he didn't participate in the 40 at the combine, but he has previously ran a 4.48 40 time. That's going to be his main knock, is his size. And does it show up a little bit in his film? Yeah, but not a huge concern. All right, so let's talk about his background a little bit. So his parents are actually very athletically gifted. His mom was an All-American softball player at Utah State, and his dad was a 2-time All-Big West center for the USU football squad. So he's got genes. He's got damn good genes. He's from Napa High School in California, and in high school he played quarterback, tight end, and linebacker. He could be used all over the place, just very athletically gifted. I think his versatility really helped push him to be seen nationally, on a national level, as a 4-star recruit. And so he was given that 4-star rating by 24/7 Sports. And COVID-19 actually canceled his senior season in high school. I guess he used that to prepare for his freshman year at UGA, because he popped off immediately coming into college. All right, so getting into some of his awards. In his debut season, he was awarded the Sean Alexander Freshman of the Year Award and was recognized as the AP SEC Newcomer of the Year. And then building on that momentum, his sophomore year included selections to the AP and Coaches All-SEC First Team. He was awarded as a finalist for the prestigious Rotary Lombardi Award and earned recognition as a semifinalist for the Walter Camp Player of the Year. He was a 3-time All-American. He was a 2-time national champion. And he was the first Double Mackey Award winner since 2000. To be honest with you guys, he should have won 3. All right? He should have won 3. Trey McBride won that year while scoring 2 touchdowns total at Colorado State. Brock Bowers came in that same year as a freshman. As a freshman, guys. He came in as a freshman, and no, he didn't get 1,100 yards. He got like 800, right? But he scored 14 touchdowns. He scored 14 touchdowns to Trey McBride's 2 touchdowns. So do with that what you will. He should have been a 3-time Mackey Award winner, which, if that happened, I think we would all be saying he's the best tight end of all time for college. But for some reason, the hype is not there with Brock Bowers. It's not where it should be. Brock Bowers came into college and he blew it up right away as an 18-year-old who didn't play his senior year in high school. Guys, that's insane. And he also holds Georgia's single season receiving touchdown record at 13 touchdowns in a season. So first I want to give a shout out to Trev in my league of record, who is a huge Georgia Bulldogs fan. And he was the one who so Trev mentioned to me that Brock Bowers' measurables are very similar to Marvin Harrison Jr.'s. All right. And I, by no means, we're not saying that Brock Bowers is as good of a prospect as Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't think that's what he was trying to say. What he was trying to say is that their measurables are like identical. Their height, hand, arm, wingspan, all extremely similar. I'm not going to get into the details, but just trust me. All right. The only difference between them is that Brock Bowers is 34 pounds heavier. Marvin Harrison Jr. is, I believe, the best player in this draft. And I think that Brock Bowers is kind of being overshadowed by some of the elite pass catchers at the top of this draft. I think people are seeing Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, and Brock Bowers is just kind of an afterthought. And I think it's because of the positional value of the tight end, right? For fantasy. If you play in a tight end premium league, which a lot of people do, I think we need to start hyping up Brock Bowers a little bit more. In no way, shape, or form am I saying that Brock Bowers is Marvin Harrison Jr. from a prospect standpoint. As a weapon in their respective offenses over the past couple of years, Brock Bowers was just as much of a weapon as Marvin Harrison was at Georgia. And Georgia won 2 national championships on his back. So that's all I'm going to say. Let's get into his stats. So like I said, his rookie season in 2021, he came into the league and he had 56 receptions for 882 yards, was averaging 15.8 yards a catch, and had 13 receiving touchdowns. And he was also used as a rusher. He had 4 attempts for 56 yards and 1 touchdown. In 2022, he had 63 receptions for 942 yards and 7 touchdowns. And he had 109 yards on the ground with 3 rushing touchdowns. And then in 2023, his junior season, he had 56 receptions for 714 yards and 6 touchdowns. He had 28 yards on the ground with 1 rushing touchdown. So he kind of went backwards as far as yardage goes, but let it be known, he had 882 yards his rookie season with 13 touchdowns. So anything after that is going to be a disappointment, right? He could have done better. He could have progressed, but he was Georgia's main weapon. And he came into his rookie season and was playing with guys like Adonai Mitchell, Ladd McConkey. And who was the number 1 weapon in that offense? Brock Bowers. The dynasty community can hype up Ladd McConkey and Adonai Mitchell as much as they want. Okay? They're good prospects. They look great. But do not forget who the best receiving weapon was in that offense. it was Brock Bowers. And people knew that Brock Bowers was going to be that entire offense when they played him. And he played against the best competition in football. If you're going to hype up Ladd McConkey, and if you're going to hype up Adonai Mitchell, you better be hyping up Brock Bowers. And I don't care that he's a tight end. To be honest with you, in the past, like for just fantasy sake, I have never been one to say you should draft tight ends in the first round of your rookie mock, right? But we're coming off a year where tight ends just continue to show value when you see them go high in the NFL draft, right? We had Sam Laporta, Dalton Kincaid, Luke Musgrave. You got to spend up on Brock Bowers. If Brock Bowers was going in last year's draft, he would have been the number one tight end taken. Now, knowing what we know now, I think we would all say Sam Laporta is the safer pick. Sam Laporta is higher for Dynasty than Brock Bowers. His production, his rookie season, you just can't overlook that, right? He's doing what we want Brock Bowers to do in his rookie season in the NFL. But guys, we got to start hyping up Brock Bowers more. All right, so let's get into his strengths. Obviously, the yak, right? That's what everybody's going to say. The yak ability is insane with Brock Bowers. He is going to create those extra yards like George Kittle, right? He's going to run some guys over. He is not going down at first contact. He's probably not going down at second contact. He's going down whenever he has two guys hanging on him, fighting for dear life to take him down. All right, that's Brock Bowers. I think the thing that makes me the most excited for Brock Bowers was the way that Georgia used him and his versatility as a weapon in the offense. He was used in sweeps. He was used in reverses. He was used in screens. They wanted to get Brock Bowers the ball, even with the other talent that they had at Georgia, who won 2 national championships. They wanted Brock Bowers to lead the way on offense. So that has got to speak for something. And that's what gets me the most excited. No matter what offense he goes into, that offensive coordinator is going to use him, or they should use him like Georgia used him. I mean, dude was a running back. They were using him as a running back. And he was good at it. He was scoring off of it. Don't forget that. I think that's what separates Brock Bowers as a prospect from other tight ends in the past. Is he Kyle Pitts as a route runner? No. Okay? He's not Kyle Pitts as a prospect. But the way that he was used as a weapon and the way that other teams knew that he was going to be used as a weapon, oh my God. They knew it was Brock Bowers. And he was still getting open. And he was still flying past people at 243 pounds. He has elite ball skills and contested catch. And then I would just say his motor and his drive in the middle of games really pushed that Georgia offense. I mean, he really took leadership. And that's going to be something that I think translates to the NFL. He's going to bring that spark to an offense when somebody needs it. I don't think blocking was necessarily the best part of his game, but he has the potential to grow as a blocker. And for fantasy, we don't care as much about blocking, but in the NFL, there is sort of a learning curve. You have to be good at blocking. You have to add that element of being the extra offensive lineman on the field when they need you to be, right? So I think that's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but for fantasy, that's not what we're looking for. We don't care about a blocker. We don't care about Darnell Washington. Okay. We don't care about that. His weaknesses. I'd say he needs to work on his route tree, adding to it, easily something he can do. And his precision with routes. He kind of rounds out his routes. He needs to be a little bit more precise with that. That's something he can work on. And then obviously the main concern is going to be when he's pressed, right? He's smaller. He's a smaller guy. How is he going to work on his release? Is he going to get more creative with his release so that he can get off that press coverage? Can he work on the footwork, work on his release, get off of these guys so that he can get out and really just be a deadly weapon in the middle of the field. So Brock Bowers is currently projected to go number 10 overall to the New York Jets. If Brock Bowers goes there, I think that's a great fit. They don't really have, they just got Mike Williams, they have Garrett Wilson, but I think that Aaron Rodgers will feed a guy like Brock Bowers. If Brock Bowers makes a good enough relationship with Aaron Rodgers, I think he'll be fine. Because it's all about who Aaron Rodgers likes, right? If Aaron Rodgers likes you, he's going to feed you like he fed Davante Adams. I think that would be a good fit for him, fantasy-wise. I think he would, and I think we have to limit our expectations his rookie season, but I don't think his value is going to go down if he has a bad year. Now, he's shown in college that he can come in and he can immediately be a factor. They can use him as a weapon in so many different ways. Like I said, limit your expectations his rookie year, but he's going to be great for fantasy. Another thing when I was watching the film that I don't want to forget about, they used him a lot his junior season on screens. And now that's great for his versatility, right? That's great that he can go out and do all these different things on offense and be a weapon. But it was a little concerning that was like mainly how he received most of his yards. But he averaged like 7 yards on screenplays. So that's a pretty positive play. And if I was the Georgia offensive coordinator, I would keep feeding him screens too. I think the question is where, with the top 7, 8 guys, where are you fitting in Brock Bowers? And I think a lot of people right now are kind of pushing him to the end of that. And I'm wondering if we should be pushing him a little bit forward. I'm wondering if he should go more before the second tier of quarterbacks. So before Jaden Daniels. At least in my opinion, he should be going before Drake May. But there is a conversation to be had. If you're in a tight end premium league, he's already, for Dynasty overall, he's going to be like the 3rd tight end overall in Dynasty, right? I mean, you got Sam Laporta, you got Trey McBride, and then I think you can start making an argument there just for Dynasty value. Okay? Not saying Brock Bowers is the best tight end, is the 3rd best tight end in fantasy football. I'm just saying for value, that's where he's at. That's where he's going. If not more than that by the time the draft happens. He goes top 10, people could be like, oh, he's my Dynasty tight end 1. Okay? Is that overreacting? Probably, but that would be his value. You're sleeping on Brock Bowers. I was sleeping on Brock Bowers. If you're in a tight end premium league, I think you got to push him up, especially like a super tight end premium. So like a extra 1.5 point or 1.5 point, you got to push him up. I think then you can make the argument that he's before Jaden Daniels. So I would say the 104. But this is just spitballing. I think once the NFL draft tells us what they think about Brock Bowers, once he goes top 10, I just think the hype hasn't been there with him. And I don't know if it's just player fatigue with Brock Bowers, but this guy is good. This guy is almost as good of a prospect as Kyle Pitts. I still think Kyle Pitts is the better prospect overall. But there's an argument to be had with how good of a rookie season he had. He immediately produced. For years, people knew Brock Bowers was the weapon in Georgia, and he continued to face double coverage and press coverage and whatever they could do to try to stop him. And Georgia was just like, no, we're going to use you in different ways so that they can't really contain you. So that's what he brings to the NFL. He's not going to be contained. If an offensive coordinator really likes Brock Bowers, they will use him as a weapon like Georgia did. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for today's pod. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to leave a rating or review on whatever platform you're listening from, and make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on future episodes. And make sure to follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Sleeper Dynasty. Peace.